So yesterday I covered the rumours and speculation running around on an internet about Michael Andretti, who is the son of the legendary Mario Andretti, potentially buying out the Sauber Formula 1 team and also potentially bridging the gap between Indycar and Formula 1, as well as, trying to make inroads into the US market for Formula 1. And there was one comment that stuck out on that video. It was something along the lines of, so many drivers have gone to America and been successful, while very few have gone the opposite way. And a comment under that wondered if the standards of drivers here in Europe are just overall better. And if the Alonso hype was anything to go by at the Indy 500s he entered, there were a lot of people on social media thinking that the Indy 500 would be the easiest race that Alonso would ever win, because it's just turning left and IndyCar drivers are crap. But before you Americans start choking on your cheeseburgers and grabbing your AR-15s, hear me out here, because this is going to be more than just America can only turn left and go brrr. I know it doesn't need saying, but it does. The last bit was a joke. It's no secret, well, it's fact that more European drivers have won the Formula 1 World Championship than drivers from North America. And I should point out here that I'm mainly covering the United States and Canada as opposed to the rest of North and South America. A total of 49 World Championships, well, soon to be 50 in the 72-ish years of Formula 1, have been won by somebody from the European continent. Britain has 20 of those titles spread across 10 drivers. Germany has 12 spread across 3. The United States, meanwhile, has 2, one for Mario Andretti and one for Phil Hill, and joining them is Canada with 1 world title won by Jacques Villeneuve. But if you were to include Brazil and Argentina as well, that number goes up to 16. Since 1996, the formation of the Indy Racing League, Europeans have won a total of 8 championships. If you include 1979 to 2003, the kart years, that number goes to 11. Well, 15. I forgot Champ Car was a thing. Versus this many won by North Americans, and that includes the IRL and kart. The last Formula 1 driver to go across the Atlantic and win the championship was Alex Zanardi. I'm not including Bourdais here because he went to America, won 4 championships, came back to Europe for Formula 1, and then went back across to North America. And while Zanardi won the kart title in 1997 and 1998, he was only dominant for the second season. In 1998, he beat Jimmy Vasser 285 points to 169. In 1997, he won 5 of 17 races. In 1998, he won 7 of 19. That's equivalent to 29.45% of races won in 1997 and 36.84% won in 1998. But the most successful driver in IndyCar history is Scott Dixon, who is from New Zealand. New Zealand in Formula 1 has just 1 title with Denny Hulme. 1. It probably doesn't help that for Americans, and by extension Australians and drivers from the Far East, it's so bloody expensive to move to and live in Europe, and especially if you're in your teens and you still need to get an education and fund your racing career on top of living in a new foreign world. Several drivers from Australia have come over and found themselves going back home despite doing well here in Europe. Drivers in that group include the likes of James Courtney and Russell Ingall, the former once being Jaguar's test driver who wrecked bigly at Monza and had to be rescued by Michael Schumacher. Ingall was pretty decent in the lower categories and he went back to Australia and had a decent touring car career, as has James Courtney come to think of it. There is also the likes of Richie Stanaway, who was very good over here but then went back and has since not really had the best of careers. He has taken a break from racing and I think he's actually on his way back to racing. And for the Americans, Logan Sargent did British Formula 4 a few years ago and finished 3rd in a series that was absolutely dominated by Jamie Caroline and is now racing in Formula 3. Well, he's just finished the 2021 Formula 3 season. And at the age of 20, he'll need to get a bit of a stomp on if he's to make it in single-seaters, but he is, however, in the European Le Mans series as well. It just so happens that the latest person to win the IndyCar title is a Spaniard who never won a junior single-seat championship on his way up to IndyCar. He did do a brief stint in Japan where he was in Super GT where he came 15th overall, and then did Super Formula where he finished 3rd. So by that logic, Japan is more competitive than America? I guess it's all just tribal elitism, because if you ask people over here who the best driver of all time is, you'll find that most of them will say it's Schumacher. Because he won 91 Grand Prix at the so-called pinnacle of motorsport, so logic dictates if you win the most races and most championships in the highest level of motorsport on the planet, you're automatically the best driver. Using that same logic, Hamilton is now the best driver ever. But that whole best driver, greatest driver argument, you can start whacking asterisks next to anything that comes up, depending on who you are and who your favourite driver is. Things like having the best car for God knows how long, servant teammates, punting drivers off the track at the final race, and all that other stuff. Some might say it's Senna, who is without a doubt the best driver over one single lap that most people will ever get to see. He was also able to drive on the limit all the time, but Jim Clark was very, very fast while driving as smooth as it was possible to be. Also, Jim Clark, compared to Senna, has sports car wins, an Indy 500 win, a BTCC title, rally wins, and so on. He pretty much won in every car he ever got into, so you could argue he's a better all-round driver. Can you see where I'm coming from with all this? At the same time, at the 2008 Race of Champions, that same Michael Schumacher we were just talking about was beaten fair and square in equal machinery by a NASCAR driver. And NASCAR drivers are seen by Europeans as being taxi drivers that can only turn left, so is Carl Edwards the best driver ever? One boss for an American-based endurance team who is from the UK said that there are indeed differing attitudes to racing between Europeans and Americans. For Europeans, watching NASCAR is a bit like watching a traffic jam on the M6, except they're going a little bit quicker and they're going bumper to bumper with the odd occasional crash that makes Americans whoop and cheer like trained seals. Meanwhile, Americans watch Formula 1 and see the cars more spread out and think, this isn't a race, this is a parade. It's a great talking point, and I would actually like to see a Europe versus America Race of Champions style series thing using some sort of spec cars, but do both disciplines of racing. So use a Formula 4 or something for road courses, and then some sort of tin top NASCAR-y type thing for like a mile-long oval or something like that. It would be pretty good to watch, like a winter series, a Ryder Cup, but with cars. Maybe even make an esports out of it. I don't know. I'd organise it with like esports guys and YouTubers, but I'm an ideas guy rather than a doing guy. So what do you think? Is there a better side when it comes to driving, USA/Canada versus Europe, or is it just petty tribalistic elitism? Leave any and all thoughts down in the comment section and, get a discussion going, because it is, after all, why I do this series. And while scrolling down, if you have been given some food for thought, why not like the video? And if you're not already, subscribe and get that bell on so you never miss out on anything I upload here. Massive thanks as ever go out to the good folk of Patreon, and if you do want to leave me a monthly tip, you can do so by following the link in the description, where you'll also find a link to Discord and, directions to my social media and stuff like that. So until next time, I've been AdmiralLaWind. Have a great day wherever you live in the world. I'll see you all again soon for another video. So until then, goodbye.